If I asked you to name the absolute ultimate antioxidant superfood, I mean, I am willing to bet the very first thing that pops into your head is a blueberry.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. We've been marketed blueberries as the king of cellular health for decades now. But what if I told you the real heavyweight champion is actually, well, that cheap, slightly rubbery purple cabbage sitting completely ignored at the end of the salad bar?
Yeah, it's wild.
Today, we are entirely dismantling the way you look at the supplement aisle.
And it is long overdue, honestly. I mean, every time you walk into a health food store, you're just bombarded by rows and rows of shiny plastic bottles.
Right, promising to fix everything.
Exactly. Everything from your energy levels to your lifespan, just using these isolated compounds. And there's a real fatigue that sets in for people. You start to wonder, do you really need 50 different pills just to be healthy?
You really don't. And that brings us to the mission for today's deep dive. We are looking at a really fascinating transcript from the YouTube channel Nourishing HR, and it completely flips the script on how we approach cellular health.
It really does.
Like, what if the most complex, scientifically proven solutions don't come in a laboratory bottle, but literally grow right in the dirt?
Yeah.
So we're going to explore 3 specific, heavily researched yet surprisingly underrated vegetables. We are talking about fighting chronic inflammation, boosting immunity, and even repairing broken DNA.
Which I know sounds like a bold claim, but the data we are looking at absolutely backs it up. It is really important to set the stage for you here. We aren't just talking about getting your basic daily vitamin C or like a little bit of fiber today.
Right. This is way beyond that.
Way beyond. We are looking at powerful biochemical compounds within these plants that act almost like functional medicine. They don't just treat the symptoms you feel. They are systematically targeting the root causes of disease at a microscopic cellular level.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with the concept of cellular defense in our very first vegetable.
Let's do it.
So going back to my opening question, the deep dive materials reveal a pretty staggering fact. Purple cabbage actually contains 2 to 8 times more anthocyanins than blueberries.
Yeah.
Now, I have to be honest, I need to push back on this a little bit. Yeah. You're telling me a side garnish has more protective power than a bowl of blueberries? I mean, I'm going to need you to explain exactly how that works, because that sounds like pure internet hype.
I know, it sounds wild, but it's completely true. And it's largely overlooked just because cabbage isn't as glamorous as a berry.
That's true.
But those anthocyanins are the key here. They are the natural pigments that give the cabbage that really deep, vibrant purple color.
Right.
But they aren't just for show. Researchers have found that these anthocyanins actively protect your DNA from breaking down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let's talk about why your DNA gets damaged in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Every day, your body is subjected to oxidative stress.
Like cellular wear and tear.
Exactly. You breathe in pollution, you get stressed at work, you eat processed foods, or, you just naturally metabolize oxygen. All of this creates unstable molecules called free radicals.
And free radicals are basically biological vandals, right? Like they fly around stealing electrons from healthy cells.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
Yeah.
And when they steal from your DNA, it can actually cause physical structural breaks in your DNA strands.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's like rust eating away at the frame of a car. But the studies show that anthocyanins from red and purple cabbage act as electron donors.
Meaning they give up their own electrons.
Exactly. They step in and neutralize those free radicals before they can even reach the DNA. So it significantly reduces that damage and shields the cells.
So instead of thinking of purple cabbage as this sci-fi force field like you read in the marketing blogs, it's actually more like a cellular bodyguard.
Right.
It is stepping in front of the bullet and taking the hit so your DNA doesn't have to.
That is a much more accurate way to visualize it. It's a sacrificial mechanism. And, the protection goes beyond just physical DNA defense.
Really?
Yeah, the research notes a really fascinating clinical study looking at how red cabbage extract interacts with our body's inflammatory alarm system. Specifically, it significantly lowers major inflammatory markers, including IL-6 and CRP.
Okay, wait. Let's not leave those as alphabet soup for the listener. I know CRP is C-reactive protein, but what is IL-6 and, well, how do they work together?
Right, let's break that down. IL-6 stands for interleukin-6. Think of IL-6 as the first responder sounding the alarm.
Okay.
It's a messenger protein that basically yells, hey, we're under attack by stress or injury. When the liver hears that IL-6 alarm, it pumps out CRP, C-reactive protein.
And the CRP is like a flare.
Exactly. It acts like a flare in the sky, marking the inflammation. Now, if those alarms are constantly blaring, you are in a state of chronic systemic inflammation, which drives almost every modern disease.
Oh.
So the fact that purple cabbage extract was able to quiet down IL-6 and reduce CRP levels in just a few weeks, it shows that these anthocyanins are actively turning off those blaring alarms.
That is incredible. But the science gets even deeper when we look at cancer protection, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The transcript mentions that compounds in purple cabbage activate phase 2 detox enzymes. Now, I feel like the word detox gets thrown around a lot by influencers selling tea. What is an actual biological phase 2 detox enzyme?
That is a vital distinction to make. True detoxification happens in the liver in two phases. Phase one is sort of like gathering up the trash in your house. Your liver breaks down a toxin, but in doing so, it can actually make it temporarily more volatile and dangerous.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Then phase two is when your body bags up that trash and ties it tightly into a water-soluble package so you can safely sweat or pee it out.
Makes sense.
The problem is, a lot of people have sluggish phase two systems, but the compounds in purple cabbage physically boost the production of those phase 2 enzymes, ensuring the toxins are safely escorted out of your body.
So it's basically upgrading the city's waste management system.
Exactly.
And even more amazing, the research shows these compounds trigger something called apoptosis.
Right, apoptosis, which is one of the most elegant processes in human biology, honestly. It's programmed cell death.
Sounds intense.
It does, but it's crucial. When a cell becomes heavily damaged or precancerous, it's supposed to self-destruct for the greater good of the body so it doesn't multiply.
Okay.
But precancerous cells are tricky, you know.
Yeah.
They often evade that self-destruct signal. The compounds in purple cabbage actively promote this natural apoptosis in those damaged cells, forcing them to trigger their own cleanup.
It's like sending a wrecking ball to a condemned building before it collapses on the neighborhood.
Exactly.
So for you listening, how do you actually get this into your body effectively? The materials are very clear about preparation.
Yes, very clear.
Because those anthocyanins are delicate, you don't want to just boil this to death. You want to incorporate it raw in salads or fermented as sauerkraut, which gives you an amazing probiotic bonus, by the way. Or, if you absolutely must cook it, only lightly saute it to protect the compounds.
Heat can definitely be the enemy of these specific phytonutrients. If you boil it, you strip the purple color right into the water, meaning you are literally pouring the medicine down the drain.
Right.
Keeping it raw or fermented ensures you are actually getting that cellular bodyguard we talked about.
Okay, so purple cabbage acts as the shield and the waste management system. But, I mean, a shield isn't much use if the foundation beneath it is crumbling.
Exactly.
We need to talk about foundational cellular fuel, which leads us to vegetable number 2. Watercress.
A powerhouse.
Truly. We're shifting gears here from targeted defense to absolute nutrient density, and there is a staggering fact we have to highlight. The CDC actually ranks watercress as the #1 nutrient-dense vegetable on Earth.
It's amazing.
It gave it a perfect score of 100 out of 100. It easily beats out all the famous superfoods we've been told to eat for a decade: spinach, Swiss chard, and yes, it even beats kale.
What's fascinating here is that watercress isn't just winning on basic vitamins, though it is packed with vitamins A, C, K, and flavonoids.
Right.
The real magic lies in a rather rare, highly potent compound it contains called PEITC. That stands for phenethyl isothiocyanate.
That's quite a mouthful.
It is, but this is the compound that pushes watercress from being just a healthy salad green into the realm of what researchers actually classify as a functional medicinal food.
Okay, I have to stop you there because I feel like we hear the buzzword inflammation constantly. Everyone says, this leaf fights inflammation or this powder fights inflammation.
Totally.
But how does a tiny leaf actually go in and stop it? Like, what is the actual biological mechanism here?
It comes down to a protein complex called NF-kappa B.
Okay.
Think of NF-kappa B as the biological master switch, or like the main gas line for inflammation in your body. When this switch gets flipped on and stays stuck in the on position, it fuels the continuous inflammatory signaling that leads to chronic disease. Researchers found that the specific PEITC extracts from watercress go in and physically downregulate, or literally turn off, that NF-kappa B activation.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it stops the inflammation right at the source, at the command center, before it can even spread.
That is brilliant. So it's not just throwing water on the fire, it's literally turning off the gas line that's feeding the fire in the first place.
Exactly.
And that PEITC compound, it doesn't just stop inflammation, does it? It also goes to work on cancer defense. The deep dive notes a study showing that consuming watercress significantly targets cancer stem cells. How does it do that?
Well, cancer stem cells are often the hardest to eradicate. They're kind of like the root of a weed. If you don't get the root, the tumor can grow back.
Right.
The research across multiple models, including breast, lung, and prostate cancer, demonstrated that PEITC creates a hostile environment specifically for these stem
Well,
cells.
so
It induces a massive amount of oxidative stress inside the cancer cells themselves, choking off their signaling pathways while leaving your healthy cells completely alone.
it's essentially using the cancer's own weapons against it.
Exactly.
And while it's doing that, it's also upgrading your healthy cells. The clinical data showed that consuming watercress significantly reduced DNA damage while simultaneously increasing the antioxidant activity specifically in our white blood cells.
Right. And your white blood cells are the frontline soldiers of your immune system. By increasing their antioxidant activity, watercress is essentially upgrading their armor and their radar.
Wow.
They can move through your body, finding and neutralizing threats much more efficiently without taking damage themselves.
It's doing all of that while sitting quietly as a perfect 100 on the CDC's list. But again, preparation is everything.
Very true.
The research specifically warns that you must avoid high heat when dealing with watercress to protect that fragile PEITC compound. So you're throwing it into salads, blending it raw into smoothies, or maybe tossing it into a soup right at the very end, only after you've taken the pot off the stove.
Exactly. The biochemistry is potent, but it is highly delicate. If you boil or roast watercress, the PEITC compound degrades rapidly. You just have to handle the food with the respect the chemistry demands.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, like, where do I even find watercress and how do I eat a whole bowl of it? Because it has a bit of a peppery bite.
It does.
But the beauty of a 100 out of 100 score is that you don't need to eat a massive mixing bowl of it. Just a handful mixed into your regular greens gives you that foundational baseline.
That's a great point. It's about consistency and synergy, not just overwhelming volume.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. We've got the heavy-duty cellular defense with purple cabbage. We've established this incredibly dense, perfect 100 nutritional foundation with watercress. But how do we turn the key in the ignition? Right.
How does the body actually activate these amazing compounds efficiently? Because a lot of these superfoods have locked potential. And that brings us to our third vegetable,
Yeah.
the daikon radish.
Yes.
This is a large, white, cruciferous root that acts like a chemical catalyst.
Catalyst is the perfect word for it. Daikon radish belongs to the same family as broccoli, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts, but it plays a very unique, almost magical role in how we digest and process those foods.
Here's where it gets really interesting, folks. The notes point out that daikon actually activates anti-cancer compounds even more effectively than broccoli itself.
Yeah.
I mean, how is a simple radish outperforming the ultimate poster child for healthy eating?
It comes down to a secret weapon, an enzyme called myrosinase.
Myrosinase.
You can think of myrosinase as a biological key.
Yeah.
Cruciferous vegetables naturally contain compounds called glucosinolates. On their own, glucosinolates are relatively inactive. They're just sitting there.
Right.
But when they come into physical contact with the myrosinase enzyme, they undergo a rapid chemical conversion into isothiocyanates.
Wow. And isothiocyanates are the highly active cancer-fighting metabolites that actually protect your DNA from mutations and aggressively defend cells against carcinogens.
So if I'm understanding this right, the medicine isn't just sitting there in the vegetable waiting to be swallowed. You actually have to create a physical chemical reaction in your mouth or on your cutting board.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, eating healthy isn't just about swallowing raw nutrients. It is about providing your body with the enzymatic keys to unlock those nutrients.
That's wild.
Evolutionarily, this is actually a defense mechanism for the plant. The glucosinolates and the myrosinase are stored in completely separate compartments within the plant's cells. When a caterpillar bites into the leaf, it crushes the cells, the two chemicals mix, and it creates a harsh compound to deter the bug. But when humans chew it, we hijack that defense mechanism for our own cellular health. And the research shows that daikon has some of the highest myrosinase activity among all cruciferous roots.
I love this. It's exactly like breaking a glow stick.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. You have the two chemicals kept completely separate inside the plastic tube, but when you snap it, the glass inside breaks, they mix, and suddenly you get this bright, glowing reaction.
Yeah.
So chewing or shredding the daikon radish is literally snapping the glow stick.
That is brilliant. The mechanical breakdown is what creates the medicine, and beyond just being a catalyst for other vegetables, daikon has its own incredibly potent profile too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is loaded with specific anti-inflammatory compounds, notably ferulic acid and quercetin.
Okay, we threw out two more terms there. Let's make sure we explain them. What exactly are ferulic acid and quercetin doing for the person listening right now?
Great question. So, ferulic acid is a compound found in the cell walls of plants that acts like a natural preservative and cellular sunscreen.
A cellular sunscreen, I like that.
Yeah, when we consume it, it acts as a highly effective scavenger, just hunting down those free radicals we talked about earlier before they can trigger inflammation.
Okay, and the quercetin.
Quercetin, on the other hand, is famous for stabilizing mast cells. You can think of quercetin as a biological chill pill for your immune system.
Oh, that's helpful.
It acts like a natural antihistamine and anti-inflammatory, really calming down hyperreactive immune responses.
So you have the ferulic acid hunting down the damage and the quercetin calming the inflammation down.
Exactly.
And the clinical data supports this. There was a really fascinating study in the notes where daikon root extract actively inhibited tumor cell proliferation. It actually stopped cancer cells from multiplying in several lines, including colon, breast, and lung cancer.
And, this raises an important question about gut health, too. Because daikon is so rich in these natural digestive enzymes like myrosinase, it directly boosts your digestion.
Right.
And we know that a huge portion of your immune system lives right there in your gut microbiome. If you are digesting your food more efficiently, your immune system isn't wasting energy fighting poorly digested proteins. It could just focus on keeping you healthy.
Now, regarding how to actually eat it, daikon has a bit of a spicy, pungent kick. You might be thinking, I don't want to eat a whole spicy radish.
Right. People get intimidated by it.
But the good news is, because it's a catalyst, you don't have to eat it like an apple. You just need a small amount to unlock the benefits. You can shred it raw into salads, ferment it as Japanese takuan or Korean kimchi, or, add it to soups.
Which, again, leans right back into the idea of mechanical breakdown.
Yeah.
Shredding it on a cheese grater or fermenting it maximizes that myrosinase activity before it even hits your stomach. You are creating a jar of activated medicine.
So what does this all mean? We've covered a lot of ground today, and diving into the biochemistry of plants can feel a little overwhelming.
It definitely can.
But if we synthesize this journey, the message from this deep dive is actually incredibly empowering, and it really simplifies your life. You do not need a cabinet full of dozens of expensive, isolated plastic supplement bottles to achieve profound cellular health. The most complex, effective solutions are synergistic, and they grow naturally right in the ground. You have your heavy-duty DNA defense and waste management system with the anthocyanins in purple cabbage. You have your perfect 100 nutritional baseline and inflammation gas line controller in watercress. And you have your ultimate enzymatic activator, the chemical glow stick catalyst in the daikon radish.
And true health is really about understanding that synergy.
Mm-hmm.
Human biology isn't designed to process one isolated superfood in a vacuum. It's a complex system, and it responds best to a system of foods.
Exactly.
It's about how these biochemicals interact, how the daikon activates the compounds, how the watercress turns off the inflammatory alarms, and how the cabbage shields the DNA. By bringing just a handful of these into your weekly routine, you are systematically targeting chronic inflammation at the source, rather than just putting a Band-Aid on the symptoms.
It really changes the way you look at the produce aisle. It's not just a bunch of side dishes. It's an absolute pharmacy if you know how to use it.
It really is.
But there's one final thought I want to leave you with. Something to seriously mull over the next time you are in the kitchen cooking dinner. Throughout this entire deep dive, the scientific sources repeatedly warned about one very specific thing: how preparation dictates the chemistry.
Yes, that is so crucial.
Avoiding high heat for the watercress so you don't destroy the PEITC. Lightly sautéing the purple cabbage so the anthocyanins don't wash down the drain. Shredding the daikon to snap the glow stick and activate the enzymes. It makes you wonder, how many other incredible disease-fighting superfoods sitting in your fridge right now are you accidentally neutralizing just by the way you cook them?